Hello, hello. Welcome to the Maker Studio Facebook page. I am Cheryl. I create over on the Home of My Making Facebook page. So I'm here today as a contributor and we are launching a new stencil. So let me show you what it is. There's so much detail in this stencil. So this is today's newly launched stencil, Carte Postale. So it's almost like a stamp. You know, you got the bicycle graphic, and then you have like a stamp graphic, and there's a bunch of different stencils in here. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections that you can cut out and create with. Look at all that detail. So I'll show you what I'm going to do today. I'm going to start with 2 different types of surfaces. One of them is a little canvas pouch, and one is a big canvas tote. Now these are available on the Maker Studio website. So let me show you. I want to start with the little tote. So as you're hopping on, let us know where you're from. Let us know what your weather is like, where you're at. Hopefully fall is on its way. Another thing, we are giving away the stencil today. So don't forget to tag 3 friends and share this to your Facebook page, and you can be in the giveaway. So the first thing I'm going to do is put something inside of this pouch. Now the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to be painting the surface. You heard that right. I said painting. So we will be using the one-step paint in Park Avenue on the front of this surface, which is a canvas tote. Did you know you can paint with the one-step paint on fabric? And it's permanent. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I am literally going to make a square on here, but the first thing I need to do is measure so that I can make it a square. So I'm going to measure about, let's see, 1 1/4 inches off of this side, and about 3/4 from the top is what I want to keep my measurement at. Now I already figured out how big I needed to paint on this tote based on the stencil that I wanted to use. So let me just go ahead and make little marks, and then I'm going to actually line it up so that I can, actually let me do it this way, yes. I might need to get one little more measurement so that I know that I am even. Okay, so there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just trying to make a square, and I have it all measured out, and then I'm going to paint on top of this. And the reason why I have that cardboard in between is because I don't want the one-step paint to seep through to the back of the canvas. So I don't know if you know that you can paint on fabric, but I'm going to show you how. Okay, so I have a square actually lined up for me. Now, the reason why I did it this particular size is because I knew that I wanted to put this stencil there in the center. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to open the stencil. In fact, if you're new to a Maker Studio, these stencils are a tri-mesh adhesive stencil. They are sticky on one side, and they are a mesh, so it gives a lot of detail. So I'm going to be using 2 of these. They are cut lines on this particular one, so you don't have to use it in its entirety. So this is what I'm going to use on one of the projects, and then I'm going to use this whole one. Look at all that detail in there with the bicycle. It's such a fabulous stencil. So these are the 2 I'm going to use. So the first thing I'm going to do, I am going to paint on this. Now remember, I have something in between so that it doesn't seep through. So what I'm going to do is going to take this Park Avenue paint, and I'm going to literally paint on here. So I'm going to use my lines that I drew with the pencil as a guide. If you're just hopping on, we just released a new stencil, and it's the Carte Postale Stencil. And we are giving it away today. So if you're watching, go ahead and tag 3 friends and share this video tutorial to your page, and you can be in the giveaway. So again, I am just running along that line that I made for the square that I want to put on this canvas pouch. Again, if you're just hopping on, this pouch and the tote that I am about to use are both available in the Maker Studio store. Again, if you're just also hopping on, I did put something in between here so that I can not have it seep through to the other side. So there's a piece of paper in there, or a piece of cardboard you can use. Either way, either way. So I'm just going along the line that I made, and I did make a pencil mark so you can't see it after I go over the paint. Just letting the paintbrush do its thing as far as the line. And this is canvas, so you can paint on fabric. It's also permanent. You don't have to heat set it. So I measured it out so that I have the right square size for the stencil that I wanted to put on here. And this is a beautiful gray color in the one-step paint. And the one-step paint, normally one step means not one coat, it means one step. You don't have to prime if you're doing like wood or any kind of surface. You don't have to sand it. Now obviously on this canvas pouch, I didn't have to do anything to prepare it. And I am only going to do one coat. Just being mindful as far as where I'm getting it. Just trying to get that corner a little bit perfected. And I'll get this corner a little bit perfected using the brush as the tool. Again, I'm only going to do one coat, so I'm just being mindful that I get all my areas covered with the one coat. And I'm actually letting the brush, even though I totally drew it out, I'm really letting the brush do the detail work as far as the line. I got one more corner to go. Now, I am going to let this dry before I continue with the other part of the process. And I do have one that I already painted that I can go ahead and continue the process with. I don't really like heat setting this so much like I normally do. So that's what I have. I put a square on the canvas tote with the Park Avenue one-step paint. So just for the magic of Alive, I do have another one that is completely dry. So in order to get to this next step, you can let it dry. Now, if you didn't want to draw that freehand after you did the tracing with the pencil, you can tape it out if you feel like you are going to get outside of the lines. But I did not do that. So here's what I have. Now, this is the one-step paint dried about 4 hours onto this canvas tote. Now, excuse me, the canvas pouch. On the canvas tote, I went ahead and I did the same exact thing. The same exact process, just made it bigger so that I can continue on with the project. So make sure again that this stage is completely dry before you go on to the next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part of the stencil pack and I'm going to put it on top of the one-step paint with some gel art ink. Now remember, these are tri-mesh stencils. They are adhesive, and I have a water bath over here that I am going to put these in when I'm done, and then I will go rinse them out under a sink and lay them sticky side up and let them air dry before I put them back onto the backing and then into the sleeve, and that's all you have to do for the care of these stencils. Okay, so I'm going to just try to eyeball the center of that. So just make sure, especially when you're working on fabric, that it does get totally burnished down. I do still have something. Oh, no, I don't. I'm going to take it out of here. I am going to put this in here just so that nothing transfers to the back of it, because it is fabric and it can tend to seep through. That's what I did when I put my one-step paint on there. Now I'm going to take, we have 3 different kinds of squeegees and we have a spreader. For this project, I am going to use this squeegee. We have the little stylus, we have this one, and this one has all different angles. Because it's a little bit of a smaller stencil, I'm going to use this and some gel art ink in the Well I Declare, which is the white. Now I'm going to put the gel art ink on top of the one-step paint that was applied to the canvas pouch. So there's so many possibilities. Now I do only like to put a little bit on there. If I need to go back with more, I will do that. I personally always like to hit the first pass of the spreader and the ink onto the gray area like that, and then I move it onto the stenciled area. So I'm just going to go over it, going to be turning it so that I can get at it. If you feel that you would go off of the stencil, you can tape it off so that you don't get anything onto the surrounding area. But I am being mindful not to do that. Again, into my water bath it goes, along with the stencil. So isn't that fabulous? Now I stenciled on top of the paint on top of the pouch. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a coordinating stencil onto the canvas tote that I did the same kind of painting technique. I do have a piece of cardboard in here so that nothing can seep through. And I'm going to do this cutie on here. Look at all that detail. And it also has like a French script behind it. So you got the bicycle in the front and the French script in the back. Again, I'm going to remove the backing. I'm going to somewhat center this on there. And for this particular stencil, I am going to use a spreader. So I'm going to use one of these. Now we have squeegees and spreaders. I'm going to use the spreader on this one. And I'm going to take, again, the same gel art ink that I was using, which is the Well I Declare, the white color. And I'm going to go over this stencil on top of the one-step paint that I put on top of the canvas bag. Again, if you're just joining us, don't forget to tag 3 friends and share this video so you can be in the drawing for the stencil. I'm going to take a little bit on there. If I need more, I'll come back. Again, I'm going to hit the gray area first. And you can hear that going through. And basically I could see that it's pushing through the mesh because I could see the stencil changing color to white. I don't see the base color, which is the gray one-step paint, coming through anymore, so I know that I'm getting it through there. Again, I like less is more, so if I needed to go back and add more gel art ink to my spreader, I do, instead of putting so much on here that I got to keep scraping and then going over the same area. I would rather just keep adding than having to keep scraping the excess off. Okay, let me just turn this a little bit so I can get the bottom of here. Again, if you think you would get it off of the surface of the stencil, you can tape this off around here so that you don't get it onto the surface. Now I'm just going back to look to make sure that I got it all covered and make sure none of the paint is coming through. I think I did it. Again, I don't know if you know, but you can paint on fabric and it's permanent. I'm going to put that in my water bath. I'm going to close up my gel art ink because it is a water-based product, and then I'm going to take this off of there. So look how fabulous that looks. Again, I'm going to put this in the water bath, and then I'm going to go back later and rinse it off under a sink and flip it upside down so it's sticky side up so that you can let it air dry. Isn't that fabulous? So what I did is I just took a little pouch and a little canvas bag and I made a coordinating set. So just for a little something, what I'm going to do to embellish this is I'm going to take some fabric glue and some buttons. So I have a couple of buttons here that I decided to put on here. This is a fabric glue, but I'm going to hit it with some hot glue at the same time just so that it stays on during the live, because otherwise you need it to set with the fabric glue. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the cover off on it, and on each corner of this particular square, I'm going to put a little bit of glue. And then I'm just going to hit it really a little bit with the hot glue. The hot glue is what this is doing, is just temporarily holding it for me until the glue dries. And I'm only doing that because I'm on a live. And then I'm going to take each one of these buttons and I'm just going to stick them on each corner. Now that will be permanent once it all dries. But right now the hot glue is actually holding it. So there you go. You got 4 of them on there. So here it is. So I made myself a coordinating little canvas bag and a little canvas pouch. So what I'm going to do with the pouch is the exact same thing, except with littler buttons so that it coordinates. You gotta have a pouch in your canvas bag, right? So again, I'm going to take, there it is, the glue, and put a couple of glue dots on each corner. And I just sized these next buttons a little bit smaller because of just the size of the pouch. I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of hot glue on each corner so that it holds these buttons for the live tutorial. Again, if you guys are just hopping on, we're giving away this stencil, so don't forget to tag 3 friends and share this tutorial. So this just adds a little bit of embellishment, gives it a little bit of detail. Just hold that for a second, let the hot glue, I'm gonna hold these for a second, and then I will show you what I did. So we have a little pouch and a bigger canvas tote that match, and it has the new stencil on it. What do you guys think? Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? So again, you can paint on fabric with the one-step paint. It adds a little bit of a detail. It gives you a base for your stencils to go on, and it's a layering effect. So on each, the pouch and the tote, I put the square and the one-step paint in the Park Avenue, and then I did the new stencil. It's part of the new stencil because there's a bunch of parts that I didn't use on here and then on here to make a simple little tote and pouch set. So there you go, guys. Simple and easy. I hope you like this tutorial. I also hope that you like this new stencil. It's so much detail. And I still have these parts yet that I can use that I haven't even used in this tutorial. So again, a lot of detail in this stencil with the background French words and the detail of the bicycle. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you will try to paint some fabric and put something on top of it, like the stencils. Again, it is permanent. And these totes and the canvas pouches are available on the A Maker's Studio website, so go ahead and check them out. I hope this inspired you guys. So don't forget, tag 3 friends and share this tutorial so that you can be in the giveaway for this stencil. I hope this inspired you guys. Have a great day.